Diddy case. How significant is it that one of his defense attorneys, high profile, Anthony Ricco, has quit and made it pretty clear, I think, in the wording of his resignation from the team and the case, that he obviously, I imagine, has issues with Diddy himself?
Well, in full disclosure, I've represented Sean off and on for many years, and my daughter is still the lead lawyer for Diddy. So from a father's perspective, I don't think it makes one whit of difference, frankly. Diddy knows what he's doing. I don't think that Tony was a lead lawyer in the case. Mark Agnifilo is the lead lawyer, who's very accomplished. I understand that anything Diddy related tends to get a lot of clicks, but this to me is no more than just a speed bump.
So we shouldn't be reading into it anything more sinister, because it does seem unusual for, in such a high profile case, for one of the team to publicly resign like this.
You're right. I don't think that, in fact, I would venture to say that there's nothing to be read into it other than what often happens with these cases. You know, I was thinking back many years ago to Michael Jackson after I saw this, and there were lawyer changes and shuffling of the deck. It happens often in high profile cases. I mean, there's always going to be some lawyers coming and going, inevitably. I've seen it in every single case I've ever handled. I will tell you that I don't think it means much of anything at all in this case. Sean is, by all accounts, ready, willing, and able to go on May 5th, and I expect that you and I will be back talking about it.
What is your overview of where he is in terms of criminal liability here, in terms of what may happen to him and the weight of the case? Because we know that when the feds come for somebody, they normally have a very good success rate.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely true. I tell clients when they come into my office, you know, the federal conviction rate is in the high 90s. So understand there aren't that many lawyers walking around who've heard the words "not guilty" in a federal courtroom. So I've been fortunate to have that, as has my daughter and both Mark Agnifilo. I will tell you, this is my take on this case. This case has been the media has so run with this idea that we have A-list celebrities, that we've got sex tapes. The tapes are about to drop. The sex tapes are involved, whether it's, and I don't even want to kind of push forward the kind of crazy narratives out there, but I remember watching a TV show, Piers, back in September, where a woman said, a lawyer said, that there were shopping tapes around and that this tape involved a A-list celebrity and blah, blah, blah. Everything that has happened since then, every public filing in that case has led me to one conclusion and one conclusion only, that these are private tapes involving just one or two other females and another willing participant. There's, as far as I can tell, there are no tapes that involve so-called A-list celebrities. In fact, there's nobody else on these tapes except two other consenting adults. They weren't done surreptitiously. They weren't done covertly. And basically, the government's case comes down to, did victim, you know, as you know, they just superseded, added two victims, but it appears that it's just three, if you believe the defense, three ex-girlfriends. And that has morphed into now saying Bad Boy Records has been a criminal sex trafficking enterprise, the likes of which is Abercrombie and Fitch. I don't see it. I haven't seen anything that gives me any indication that that is the case.
Matthew, I saw you nodding there.
Yes.
You were a criminal trial consultant and a defense attorney for 25 years. You've represented, like I said, Suge Knight. With over 100 jury trials you were involved in, including a lot of murder cases, you secured a lot of not guilty verdicts. Now, you said an interesting thing. You said that you're no fan of Diddy, but you still think this case might not be a very strong one. Explain that.
I agree with Mark 1,000,000%. This is a joke. This case is blown up into something that from nothing. When you have, first of all, a number 5 or 6 lawyer getting off a case means nothing. He's mad he didn't get enough camera time. He's mad he thinks he wants more money. It means nothing about the case. In all likelihood, he wasn't even particularly privy to all the comings and goings that were going on with the case. I'd be very surprised. Mark Geragos doesn't sit down and have conversation with 4 and 5 lawyers at the bottom, and it's not nothing intentional. It's just the practical reality. In Sean and Combs' cases, this guy is a unique individual, but he's not dumb. He's arrogant, he's obnoxious, he's a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that a lot of people in the music industry are. But he's not dumb. And he has an inherent, every time I've ever met him, I thought he had an inherent quality of fear. You know, he was afraid of doing anything for himself, afraid of going to jail, which I understand, I get it. But this is the case where here's a crazy thought. There are some people in Hollywood who have different sex lives than people in mid-America. There's, like Mark had referred to, I've talked to people about these videos multiple occasions. No one's told me that there's ever any, 1, there's no baby oil. 2, there's no children. 3, there's no force, no coercion, no duress. These are commercial sex workers. He's a voyeur. He liked to watches his significant others have sex. There's just almost nothing to this case. You have a very ambitious AUSA who doesn't have a lot of experience trying cases. AUSAs in general, they try serious cases, and never get me wrong, they don't do a lot of trials. And when you do a lot of trials, you know what's a strong case, you know what's a weak case, you can sense, you can figure out. This is nothing.